Mr. Speaker, thank you for being here with me today. Now, let's start about a bill that passed the Texas House last week, which is about school vouchers or education savings account. It passed after hours of debate on the floor. Your reaction to the vote?
Look, the Texas two-step is a set of bills we've been talking about all session. Historic education finance for our public schools and also education savings accounts so that more students and families have more opportunities in Texas. I was very proud of the votes. I was very proud of the support for both bills, and I'm excited to see it being implemented.
I'm going to go into the public education bill in just a minute, but before we get into that, I want to go off of school vouchers. Now, there's been some discussion that the House Democratic Caucus may vote to block constitutional amendments for the remainder of session in response to that vote. How concerning is that to you, if at all?
Look, it's right now, it's early in session. We're going to see what happens. There's some fantastic constitutional amendments up there, and I'm very hopeful and optimistic that those are going to be passed into law.
If the House Democratic Caucus does wind up following through on that, blocking constitutional amendments with their votes, do you still feel as though passing school vouchers, ESAs, were worth it?
Look, at the end of the day, like I said, some of the constitutional amendments are about delivering property tax relief for all Texans, making sure that there is targeted for some of the family homes with intellectual disabilities, creating new, big, broad things for dementia research. These are things that have bipartisan support, and I expect that my colleagues, they're good people, are going to do the right thing, and we're going to support and pass many of these.
You mentioned some of those constitutional amendments. Are there any in particular you support?
All right, if they're on, I think all the ones that we've seen to date, I'm supportive of. I think they're very good, and I'm excited to see them on the ballot in November.
And let's also talk about the public education funding bill, which passed just before the school vouchers one, that provides nearly $8 billion for education over the next 2 years. What do you feel that bill in particular means for Texas's future?
Well, it's fantastic. If you talk to our public education community, they're very excited about this bill. I stood in a press conference with superintendents from across the state, broad spectrum of them. They're very excited about what we're trying to do, whether it's special education funding and closing that funding gap with $1.5 billion, whether it's funding full day pre-K, whether it's raising the basic allotment to make sure we have teacher pay raises. There are very, very good things for our public education, our schools across Texas. And I think that it was met with very, very strong support all the way around.
I noticed in an interview you conducted earlier that you thought that education would be the lasting legacy of this session. So now that these two bills have passed, what else would you like to see done regarding education?
Yeah. Well, so first off, I'd also point out that there is a school discipline bill that passed, House Bill 6. It is very important to make sure that our teachers can actually continue to do their job and remove the one or two children from the classroom who are basically creating a disruptive learning environment. We passed a bill, House Bill 27, on the floor today that's going to require financial literacy to be taught and compelled in every one of our high schools. It is so important that our high school graduates graduate and they know how to balance a checkbook. They understand what a credit card is. They understand mortgage. They understand basic personal financial literacy. There are so many good things that we are doing in public education. There's a laundry list of them. So very excited about that.
Now, there's been some discussion about the pace at which the House is working, particularly compared to other sessions. I do want to ask you, what would you say to those who are concerned that the Texas House is not moving fast enough, particularly compared to the state Senate?
So first off, if you listen to the interviews about the Texas Senate, they're saying they're moving at lightning speed. It is historic. I mean, they're moving very fast, and certainly that's their chamber. They have the right to do that. We're moving very methodically, very good in the Texas House. By the end of this week, I believe that we're going to pass a significant number of important priority pieces of legislation, and I'm not concerned about the pace. I think we're doing a really, really good job of being thorough in vetting the legislation and making sure it's right.
You say you're not concerned about the pace at which the House is going.
I'm not.
All right. Now, I do want to ask you a bit about a bill filed by East Texas lawmaker Representative Cole Hefner, House Bill 17, that would effectively ban individuals from certain countries from owning land in Texas. Your thoughts on the proposed legislation?
Yeah. From our foreign adversaries. We are very concerned in Texas, and I think rightfully so, that some of our foreign adversaries are, either taking land that's strategically close to military bases. They can take secrets away from them and doing all sorts of other things. So there's a host of bills. Representative Hefner has filed many. Most of them have gone through his committee that are designed as national security type of bills. And I think that they're going to pass. I'm supportive of them, and they should be coming to the floor very soon.
There was a public hearing on the bill, and during that public hearing, there was some concern that the law is discriminatory. Your take on what was brought up during the public hearing?
I don't see it that way. I think it's a legitimate national security concern. The intention is certainly not one of discrimination. That is clearly not it. It's one of security, national security in particular. In the testimony, while I didn't get to see all of it, I know it was compelling about why we need to do this.
Now, in East Texas, there's been a lot of talk about water infrastructure. There was some concern regarding Lake of the Pines sale, but just generally, what are your thoughts on water infrastructure this session? Do you feel, what are some particular bills that are being put forward that you would like to see signed into law?
Both the Senate and the House have prioritized a large water investment bill. It is clearly one of the things that has caught everybody's attention. There are some parts of the state that have an abundance of water, others that do not. We're never going to take the water of those who have abundance and move it to where it's not. But there are water conservation ideas. There is leaky pipes. We're losing a significant amount of our water just because of leaky pipes in municipalities. And putting money invested to make sure we can do that and to shore that up and to basically make sure those pipes don't leak is very important. Looking for new water supplies, whether that's desalination from the ocean, from the brackish aquifers, or from the produced water that comes from our oil and gas industry, or even going to other states to buy it and pipe it. These are exciting opportunities. They're ones we're going to have to invest in, and we're going to have to prepare for the next 40 and 50 years of water supply throughout Texas.
Would you consider the state currently in a crisis in regards to water?
So I would not say we're in a crisis, but if we do nothing, if we do not start looking at this and having a plan, we could find ourselves in one.
I do want to ask you, we talk about East Texas. What does the situation for water look like in West Texas, nearby Lubbock, where your district is?
Look, a lot of the water comes from our aquifers out there. Some of them are being depleted. We're looking at aquifers even deeper than the ones we've been typically doing. That's brackish. You'd have to actually clean it up. There's, lots and lots of water that we're putting down injection wells after oil and gas come out that could actually be cleaned up and reutilized. So there's a lot of opportunities to take the water that's existing there and clean it up and make it potable for human consumption.
Now, there's a little over a month remaining in session from the time we're recording this interview. What would you like to see done in that remainder? What are your priorities?
Look, there's a broad spectrum of them. Obviously, if you look at the bills that have a 1 through 50 on them, those are the bills that, House bills that I've made priorities. The Senate has done the same. And right now, we're now starting to pass each other's priority pieces of legislation.
And what are some in there that particularly stand out to you?
So, look, there's still some parental rights bills that we're talking about dealing with public education if there's a grievance. If we talk about the personal financial literacy that was done today, I think that's very important. And there's several others that are out there I think are very important.
What do you feel is the single biggest challenge facing Texas currently?
Look, when you talk about, planning for 50 years of water supply, that is something we have to take seriously. When most Texans get up and they turn their water spigot on and water comes out, they think everything is okay. But making sure people know that we've got to be planning, thinking about it, conserving where we can and doing things is a challenge to make sure people know how important that is.
One more specific topic I want to ask you about is rural healthcare. What would you like to see done regarding rural healthcare over the next month?
So today we passed House Bill 18, Gary Van Dever's bill. It is designed to keep rural hospitals open. It puts some grant funding in there. It tries to help expand telehealth, and it is a complete bill to try to address rural healthcare, rural hospitals, very important. I think doing some of the things of funding rural EMS is very important. We've seen that be a priority, and I think we'll get some things done there as well.
Do you feel as though there's enough funding available to accommodate what you're looking for?
Well, we have certainly made it a priority. It's House Bill 18, meaning it's a priority of mine. I believe the funding is there to make an impact and a difference. Is it ever enough? No, it's not. But I think it's a very good amount of money and appropriate amount for this particular budget cycle.
Now, as we look beyond the 89th legislative session, of course, there's currently a budget surplus of over $20 billion. If in the future there is not a surplus, do you feel as though any of the legislation that's passed this year may not be able to be extended into the future? Your thoughts on that?
No, I think that one of the good things about Texas is, unlike our counterparts in DC, we don't deficit spend. We do not grow the budget beyond population plus inflation. And I would suspect when we actually end this session, we do so not spending all of the money that we have available to us. And so that money will be able to help make sure that we hedge against any potential downturns. And we also have the Economic Stabilization Fund, or the Rainy Day Fund, that, for the first time has ever hit its cap at $28 billion. So the one thing that we do in Texas is we don't deficit spend. We don't have debt. We make sure that we actually don't spend everything that we have. And we spend a significant amount trying to decrease property taxes, even though the state of Texas does not have a property tax.
Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience about the current legislative session?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you, and look forward to ending this session in a very good way for all Texans.
Texas House Speaker Dustin Burrows, we appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.